What's up? Welcome to Hot Shorts with your host Stephen Johnson, Jeevan Stunson. Love the short in BOXL for basically one reason. Fundamentals met technicals. When you've got fundamentals and technicals to tell a coherent story, it really helps to make a very good high percentage win rate. As safe as can be in the crazy land of fucking penny world, it's a safer short. So I want to break down how I can analyze fundamentals and technicals for a better, safer short. And to be honest, looking back, I don't do this enough, because when I started turning 1 to 2k months to 10 to 15k months, it was by piecing the fundamentals and technicals together. So I'm going to show you how to do it. It's very cool on BOXL. The only other thing is I started with TradeZero with a $600 account, and that's how I first got profitable. So that's for international as well, by the way. But if you want to sign up with TradeZero, I've now put my affiliate link in the description. So if you click that, you sign up. I get to see and track who's signing up, and maybe I can help you a little bit along the way. Otherwise, let's go. Okay, what's up, guys? So with BOXL, I really like the chart because the technicals kind of really linked up well with the fundamentals to give a good, concrete, solid, coherent story as to why they should fail. It was my favorite short of last week. And the first is the technicals. Put it simply, BOXL, we've got a lower highs bouncing ball where it just keeps on finding resistance at lower and lower levels until ultimately, say the last, probably got the last level is about here where it most recently topped out. So we topped in the 480s, lower, it's struggling lower and lower and lower. So it kind of says to me that technically it appears that there's definitely like something going on that's negative with the company based on the technicals. We were actually short, doesn't look like much, but it is. Was short on this gap up day where it traded 50 million. Keep in mind 50 million is not a huge volume amount, considering back here we traded 300 million on its previous run. Now the next step is to kind of try and figure out what's going on with the company and why is it up on this specific day. And it's up on earnings. Boxlight reports second quarter 2021 financial results, and we see a huge revenue increase, 497% to 46.8 million. It's good, they're generating some levels of revenue, and customer orders have increased by like almost 1,000%. And they don't have really much else. They've got net loss per common share. So the revenues are going up a lot. They're going up significantly, but they're not mentioning earnings, which is weird. Like, they're not saying we've made a lot of money because our revenues have gone up. And there's a good quote to say that revenue is vanity and earnings is sanity. And that's something to keep in mind, because yeah, the revenues are going up at a crazy pace, but let's just kind of check out how well they're doing financially in terms of earnings. And this is where we get this kind of weird paradox where when it comes to 2020, like last year, the revenue significantly increased, but at the same time, their earnings in response like also significantly decreased. So there's this weird combination where the more the revenue goes up, the more the earnings go down. And if you look at the press release, they only talk about the revenues, but they never talk about the earnings. So if the revenues have gone up significantly more from this, it wouldn't be unwise, I would say, to expect that potentially the earnings have gone down even more, because they haven't reported them. Like, I don't know, I'm guessing, but I'm just saying the situation doesn't look good. And when we look at BOXL in terms of financials, it's a big float, 52 million. That's like kind of suggesting that that's quite heavy. It's not going to move easily. And then when we look at kind of how much cash they've got left, they've only got 3 months left. So when I think of BOXL, I think the long-term future doesn't look good. Your earnings, you're not talking about them, but they have been getting significantly worse. You're running out of money in the next 3 months, and we have a shelf of 150 million to raise money. So ultimately BOXL are going to be raising money at the expense of the shareholders. So BOXL might become a brilliant company. Those revenues might turn into earnings and profits, and in the future BOXL might be a fantastic company in the years to come. But I'm thinking about right now, in the next 6 months or the next 3 months, it only looks like BOXL's situation is going to get worse. So we know from looking at the fundamentals that the float is 50 million shares. So there will be some people who've held long from, and when I say held, I mean held the bag from ultimately the 4s to the 3s to the 2s, and some may have held as low as the 1s for a huge drawdown. Now, the minute they can get out for less of a loss, they will. So the minute panic sets in on this gap up day, we can start to see some panic selling. We also know from looking at the news that there's something amiss with the company. Now you see this news, this blowout revenues, it didn't really attract significant volume compared to any other day. So we can understand that our thesis is kind of confirmed by the lack of interest, the lack of demand in the stock. So something looks amiss, and the market is almost as well telling us that there is something wrong. It's confirming. Otherwise, there'd be more demand and more volume if the revenues were as good as the company was saying. And it basically leads us to just a panic. No one wants to buy the stock. There's something fundamentally wrong with the company that they're not talking about, and everyone's trapped. And they're going to get out because they were in the 1s. They're now in the kind of the 250s. They can get out for less of a loss. And the rest is just playing the price action, trying to find a good entry. So if we look at the day, we get the revenues PR released at like 4 o'clock. We had the surge, reality kicked in. People realized that it wasn't as good as the first thought. People kind of trade before the read. And the rest was just getting in at the open pretty much. I mean, you hit short 240s. I was actually short pre-market around the 250s. I never went red at all on this. But you could hit 240s. You may have to hold your breath for 5%, or you can just cut it, get back in when it refails. Sometimes I'm kind of aggressive when I know it's so bearish that I'll accept that I might go down 3 or 4% with the potential of making 15. You can cut it and re-enter. But ultimately, thesis is confirmed. You had a great, from the 250s down to the 220s, you had a great 10-15% on this. And boom, kaboom, in this very room. That's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching. And do keep in mind, if you want to focus more on the short side, TradeZero is specialized as a broker more for the short side, and the affiliate link is in the description. You get some basically cheaper, better offers, deals, shizzle, me whizzle, whatever. But you get some discounts if you just click the affiliate link below. Otherwise, have a fantastic weekend, live the dream, and don't count the days, make the days count.